everyone. I'm coming to you from my photo booth because I want to use my phone for this video. I'm going to do a little update on what I've been reading and watching. I've been watching a lot of movies, which is great. I've kind of figured out that I can put on a movie, um, and just like lay in bed in a really comfortable position. It's going to be really hard for me not to look at myself because it's like a huge screen. Um, I can lay in bed if I get in a really comfortable position and just like zone out while I'm watching a movie. And it's been really good. I don't need like five different screens. Occasionally, I will do a little Sudoku, but I'm trying to really just like have one screen at a time. That is my challenge for myself. It's not perfect, but it's sometimes working. So I wanted to go over some movies and then some reading stuff. This has been a little bit slower of a month for reading. I had a really good month last month with reading. I think I read, let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 books last month, which um last year towards the end of the year I really fell off. And honestly, all of 2025 I was not reading that much, at least not as much as I was in 2024. But I did read 2 books this month. We'll start with books. I read Symptomatic by Danzy Senna, and then I read I Only Believe in Myself, which is a interview style book with I mispronounced her name last time. It's not Catherine Brelet. I was silencing the wrong letters. It's Catherine. I feel like I'm still gonna get this wrong. Catherine Briot, Brat, Brat. I'm so sorry. Um, but I actually really liked that book. I did not imagine myself finishing it so quickly, but it only took me a few days to read the whole thing. I didn't think I would like it that much because it is like an interview question and answer style video or style book. But I just think she's so interesting and really like went into a lot of details and called out a lot of people, and um she's a very intimidating figure. Obviously, she's a French director, screenwriter, all that. But she was not afraid to like call people out by name. There's one sequence segment part of the book where one of the actors from the movie Romance, um, if you haven't seen Romance, there is a non-simulated sex scene or multiple. I saw that a few years ago. I don't really remember the details, but apparently like the big thing with that movie was that it was going to be non-simulated sex scenes. And the actress afterwards says that, she felt very uncomfortable and all this stuff, kind of like saying things happened on that set. And uh, Miss Briot, oh my God, I can't say her name. She really shut that down and was like, no, that's not how it happened at all. Obviously, I wasn't there. I'm not going to claim to know what really happened, but it is interesting how, like, how much she was willing to, like, I don't know, talk about these things. She's a very transgressive figure. So it was a really interesting book. And then the Symptomatic book, I didn't know where that was going. It's a pretty short book, and it brands itself as a thriller, like a psychological thriller. The first half of the book, I was like, what is this? This is just like very standard fare, lit fic book about a woman in New York who's ends a relationship at the very beginning of the book. Um, she is kind of a white passing biracial woman. And at the very beginning of the book, she's in this relationship with this guy, and he has her meet his friends, which she doesn't even really want to do in the first place, but she goes along with it. And then they start acting really racist, and she's not having it. And so she leaves that relationship. And then she meets this woman at work who is also biracial. And it's like her one friend. And this friend kind of is crazy. And I really did have fun with the second half of this book when things start really like ramping up. I love the dynamic of like this crazy, obsessed friend that you kind of can't get rid of. I feel like we've all been through that, no? Like, I want more media about that, about these like women with personality disorders, because I just feel like it's not written about very often, and it's something that happens to a lot of us. Especially if you're a certain type of person. I relate to the type of person that the main character is that ends up getting in these relationships with these kind of people. That's all I'm going to say about it. Uh, Another thing I'm reading right now is this article, or it's not even an article, it's like an academic paper. Um, Very interesting. It's taking me a while to get through because I've been like highlighting stuff a lot. It's called After the Great Studio Pullback of '08, Late Indiewood and American Independent Film Theatrical Distribution and the Age of Streaming, 2008 to 2019, by Yanis Soumakis. I'm sure I pronounced that wrong too. University of Liverpool. So this is like really interesting to me because here's the thing, like I'm obviously very interested in indie film, but it's kind of hard sometimes to like figure out what exactly is in that category. And I had never heard of the term Indiewood, and this is something that came about in the 2000s, and it's like when indie movies started becoming like very, I guess, popular, and all these studios had these subsidiary independent distribution houses. And so all this money was being funneled into it, and it kind of changed the way that indie movies were made, produced. You know, they became a really good vehicle for actors to have um, more like character, non-linear, unconventional roles that they could really get garner a lot of prestige and Oscar attention. And so it changed the way that indie movies are funded and distributed, and it kind of flooded the market in a way that made it so that other indies with less money and less distribution were very much kind of pushed out of the picture. So it's very interesting. There's a lot of like film jargon and a lot of numbers and charts and stuff like that that I goes way above my head. But there are a lot of also things in here that if you have like a little bit of an understanding of Hollywood and film distribution and stuff, I think it's really it's been an enlight enlightening, oh my gosh, enlightening uh bit of information. Okay, moving on. Oh my gosh. Also, like I feel weird filming on photo booth. Like I'm like, okay, I have one take and I have to get it right. You know what I mean? So that is why I'm like So nervous to talk to you guys. Okay, let's move on to movies. So, and I have a few more library books that are coming. I think that's why I've slowed down on the reading because I've been waiting for some books. But yeah, I just watched Waiting for Guffman last night. I also watched A Mighty Wind. They're both Christopher Guest movies. Obviously, after the death of Catherine O'Hara, a lot of these movies are like being pushed, at least on my TV. And it's great because I've never seen Waiting for Guffman. It's one of those movies that I've always wanted to watch. I've always been curious about, and I finally watched it, and it was really good. I watched do 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 when I was reading the Catherine Breillat book. I watched Sexist Comedy. I just rented it. That's another movie that I've always wanted to watch. I remember, I think around the time that I watched Romance, I wanted to watch Sexist Comedy because it seemed interesting, and I finally did, and it was a great movie. Um, let's see what else. I watched The Piano Teacher. Um, another movie I've always wanted to see, and I've never seen it, and it was different than I expected. I don't know what I was expecting. Obviously, the photo, like the cover of the movie, is so, I feel like, iconic, and it doesn't really give you a lot of what is going to be in the movie. So I was not expecting that. But I did like it. It was good. My favorite movie that I've seen this month, though, is Tape, which is a Richard Linklater movie from 2001. It's a movie that takes place in one hotel room. It looks like it's filmed on like camcorders or something. It's got that very lo-fi, shaky. I'll wait for that to pass. If you can hear it, there's whatever. It's got a very like lo-fi vibe to it, like it was filmed on a tape recorder. But the premise of the movie is that Ethan Hawke is in this motel room, and you kind of don't know what's going on. And then what's his name? The guy from House, who's also in a lot of these like indie movies. Robert Sean Leonard. He comes and he's like, they're old friends. He's promoting a film, his first movie, at this little festival in town. And Ethan Hawke kind of gets him to admit that he maybe assaulted or had a very um, messy sexual encounter with Ethan Hawke's girlfriend in high school. And then we find out that Ethan Hawke had been taping that whole interaction when he finally admits what he did. And then the woman, who's played by Uma Thurman, comes to the hotel room and she kind of like denies it. I don't want to give it away because I actually really think you should watch this movie. You can find it for free on YouTube. It is so interesting. The acting is really good. I've obviously known that Ethan Hawke is a good actor, but he's really like on 100% during this movie. And Uma Thurman is so good. Like her performance is so, she's kind of like quiet and reserved. And I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of her films. Mostly I feel like I've only seen her in like Tarantino movies. She is so good in this movie. Everyone's really good, and it's so like complex. It's funny. It's, I don't know, it's a really good movie. I If I could recommend one thing, I would recommend watching Tape on YouTube or wherever. Um, but yeah, that's kind of what I've been consuming in the month so far. So I guess I'll leave you with that. I'm gonna go pick up some library books, and I'm also gonna pick up a movie. Oh, I've been renting movies from the library, and it's been so fun. Right now, I'm waiting for Savages, which is the Laura Linney, Philip Seymour Hoffman movie. I watched this probably in 2014 after Philip Seymour Hoffman died. I watched essentially like all of his movies. So I've seen this movie, but it's been over a decade. And I remember really liking it when I watched it. And I really like the feeling of knowing, like, okay, I have to watch this movie because I only have it for a week. And it feels like a very intentional viewing experience. Um, and I didn't know where the remote was to the DVD player, so before this, I was just watching it, and like the only thing I could do was pause or play. So I couldn't watch like special features. I couldn't skip things or like go backwards, and now I can, which is great because that was one thing that was kind of annoying. I was like, I have to go eat dinner and I don't want to pause it because if the screen goes black or whatever, I might have to like start over and I can't do like the scene selection thing. It's just fun to like handle a DVD and like go through all the special features. It's just something it is like very nostalgic. And it's just like a different viewing experience than just finding something on the TV and watching it and streaming it. And not that I don't think there's anything wrong with streaming movies. A lot of these movies I watched this month have been on a streaming service, but I don't know, it's just like a fun, it like kind of exercises a different muscle, if that makes sense. Um, so yeah, that's what I've been watching, reading, and I will hopefully read more this month. I have a few books coming, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.